So the goal is to make it fun, I believe.
Yeah, the first goal is, of course, to make people have fun. Hi, Stellar and friends.
Hey, sir, Vince. Good to
Hi.
see you. Good
Always
to see you.
my
Good to
pleasure.
see you. Good to see you.
Welcome
Good to see
back.
you. Well, we are here in Phuket. I flew here because I wanted to see your fantastic blind test, your interpretation of a blind testing, right? Yeah. There are different types of wine tasting. There is the horizontal type, the vertical type, the blind testing, the double blind testing. But can you explain us about Vince blind testing?
Yeah, well, I can tell you for sure that it's not a vertical blind testing, it's not an horizontal blind testing. It's something that was born from the idea of doing something different that nobody was doing, at least around here, around the Phuket area. So it's also a way to get our clients to try different wines in a very friendly competition, and also rewarding them with some, let's say, symbolic prizes. So for them it's a way to learn about wines, at the same time feeling that little bit of pressure of the competition, of the challenge. And then of course at the end of the day they will have tried some new wines and they have a new experience.
So the goal is to make it fun, I believe.
Yeah, the first goal is of course to make people have fun, and then if we can at the same time try to give them a little bit of experience, a little bit of knowledge, that's obviously something that doesn't have to be neglected.
Sure. Let's bring the wine where it belongs, right? On the table with friends, no jacket and necktie, correct?
No, absolutely. It's very, very cozy, it's very casual.
All right. Tell us something. We will have some video later on, but what is the concept? What are you doing?
The concept is, well, first of all, is restricted to a number of people. Because it's important that we are all in the same location when we do this tasting, and the wine is served at the same temperature to everyone at the same time. So we normally structure the tasting this way. I choose actually 5 different wines. It doesn't matter red, whites or rosé, that depends a little bit of my plan. So we chose 5 different wines that need to be identified by our participants. So they will be blindfolded, so they have no visual access to the bottle. They have no even visual access to the glass where they're drinking from. So they are completely blind. They will taste this wine and then they're given a form to fill in. This form, there are some criteria, and each criteria will give some points. So for each criteria you get right, it will give you a number of points. The criteria we use are quite simple, I will say, so we don't really stress the participants about some technical features of the wine like acidity or tannins, or not even about the body of the wine. So our criteria are, for example, just if the wine is from the new or the old world, then we try to identify the country, we try to identify the grape, and if we have a blend, I'm happy if they can guess at least one of the grapes in the blend. Then after the grape, we have to identify the label of the wine, which is a little bit complicated. And then in the end, for the vintage, we just try to understand if the wine is older or younger than 3 years.
That's good. For the label, which is of course very, very difficult, I know there is not a trick, but a help, let's say a help, no? Because you will unfold, and then the client can look what you have in the cellar, right? So it's one of the label.
So at the end of each wine tasting, so we'll have, for example, the first wine, and after they taste the first wine, they are allowed to take the blindfold off, and they have to fill in the form to try to identify the first wine, and they can look around, because I always promise them that the wine they're tasting is one of the labels that I have, of course, in my bar. I'm not giving something that it's not here. So there are 115 different labels, so it's not easy. But for example, if you think that you are tasting a Sauvignon Blanc, your choice is already restricted maybe to 5-6 different labels. So you can cut the others that you think they don't really respond to the wine you're tasting.
Sure. Just out of curiosity, since white and rosé are both chilled, how many people made a mistake? They it's white, but it's a rosé actually. Red, I don't think so, right? Because red is not cheap.
It never happened. This is the fourth edition of this tasting. So we already did it 3 times. We normally run it once a month. And in the previous editions, it happened that even people with quite a deep knowledge of wine, I will say probably a couple of them were also certified sommelier, they struggle distinguishing a white from a rosé. Some of them can be very, very similar. So you taste a wine that is cold and it's really fruity and it's really light. Yeah, it's not easy. I never tried, but these people told me, Vince, trust me, it's not easy. And we're talking about people that have tasted a lot of wine in their lives.
So you do this once a month?
Once a month, yeah.
Once a month. All right, right. So if next time our Asian friends are coming to Phuket, your wine station is just like 5 minutes away from the airport?
5 minutes away from the airport. We're open every day during the high season from 5 until midnight. So we will be super happy to welcome you, and come on, why not? Come and have a glass of wine with us.
Vince, thanks a lot. Let's go and have a look at the tasting tonight. I'm very curious.
We have a show to run.
Cheers.
Thanks, Saturn friends.